Hey, welcome back to the Culture Club. We're here live in the Netherlands, in Amersfoort.
Yeah.
And we've been at TRILUX training today.
We talked about connectivity and the Internet of Things, and really got into that. And Tom, I've got to say, there's some pretty profound things coming out of that. To feel where this industry is going, lighting and connectivity related to it, is quite unbelievable. And it's happening now here in Europe, and I think it's going to be happening very soon in Australia.
Well, it's probably not a think, it's a we know.
Yeah, it's coming like a fast train.
And that is exciting because, of course, in many respects, we do need these technologies to be developed out of Europe before they come to Australia.
Yeah.
We've been talking about, PoE, IoT to the point where people are getting tired of hearing about it,
Yeah.
to actually see these projects starting up. And I think something that's really frustrated me for a long time with these technologies is that everyone's talking about it, but because the projects are not going ahead, the technology doesn't exist. So you've got all of these people talking a real big game about what it can do, but when you push them to the point of, well, what's the actual product? It all goes a bit quiet. So I think the advantage that we have is because Europe, these projects are actually going ahead, that means that we're starting to see a suite of products that we can actually use.
Yeah, it's a real thing. And of course, you need the technology to support sustainability and circularity. It's an integral part of it, because that's what gives you the information and the data that you need for these sort of initiatives.
I think that's the thing. I mean, we need data for everything these days, but how can, if we're talking about making more sustainable buildings, if we're talking about making buildings which respond to people's needs, how can you possibly do that without data?
Yeah, and our challenge, of course, is taking these great concepts, Tom, and applying them to our local daily actions in the market, because that's how it's really going to get out to the customers.
Yeah, well, I think we need to do more presentations to people around what it can enable, rather than just talking about the input side, but talking about, well, with this data, what can actually be done? And that's where these use cases are really good.
Yeah.
People are just talking about what you could do if you had all of this data, but with a real case, we can look at what is the end customer actually using the data for.
Yeah.
Because I don't want it to become a bit like your fitness watch, which measures 100 different things, but how many do you actually use?
Yeah.
So I think by getting that data out of Europe, it's going to make us a lot more informed and help our customers in Australia to perhaps make the right decision, knowing what features they want and not paying for anything they're not going to use.
Yeah. And you've nailed it with the word customer, because it really is the end user that is desiring these concepts, and that's the key to getting these concepts off the ground in real projects.
Yeah, look, I think it requires people to think quite differently.
Yeah.
Without the end customer asking for these extra things that they can have in their building, I don't expect designers to be putting up their hand to do a bunch of extra work.
Exactly. Yeah.
We need end clients who are saying, I want these extra features in my building. I'm going to pay a consultant to spend extra time doing it, and I want to start talking to suppliers and getting the designers to talk to suppliers about what might be possible.
Yeah. It's bringing value to the customer, and that's what's going to get it across the line.
I think the big
Benefits.
The reason why it's been slow to take off is because it's a completely new thing. It's not like lighting, where the question becomes, how premium is our lighting going to be? Is it going to be low end, or is it going to be high end, or something in between? It's a completely new service which nobody has had before.
Yeah. So, to the next one.
Let's go get a beer.
Okay, cheers.